Yo, what is up guys, Boris here. Today we're going to be doing something really cool. My friend Maniac requested that I take a look at his legend ranking list, and I'm going to go through it piece by piece, give you guys my thoughts, and overall give you guys what I think about each legend, what ranking they are in. And when it comes to rankings, there's a few ways you can do them. Obviously, you can number them, from first to last. The best way to do it, in my opinion, is the way a lot of rankings are done, is the tier list. Put them into individual tier lists because each one is better in certain situations. So it's better to just put them overall in a tier list. And that's exactly what Maniac has done here. Now, he is another fellow YouTuber or Twitch streamer, so check out his links. I'll also leave the link to this document down below in the description. And yeah, it's a pretty comprehensive list here. And again, he did ask me to go ahead and do a video with this, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start at the very bottom of the list, and keep in mind that this is going up to Enel 6 stars. So if you're watching this video months in advance and there's more legends at that point, I'm going to assume most of the new legends will be at near the top of the tier list, but just keep in mind that this goes all the way from Whitebeard to Enel. So starting off, he looks like he has the lowest possible tier is tier A. In terms of legends, he's gone ahead and put some other non-legend units on the list. I think this is mainly to highlight some of the awesome captains that you can use aside from legends. But for this video specifically, we're going to be looking at the legends and what exactly he wrote down for each one, and do I agree with the tier list. So let's go ahead and say A is the lowest possible tier list that we can give for a legend. They are pretty hard to get, so they are pretty good, but obviously you could potentially, say maybe they're B, B minus, but for the sake of this, we're going to call them A tier. So let's start off with the first legend in the game, that is a Whitebeard. Now Whitebeard, he does have a 6-star plus, and there's a few other units like the Sabo that has a 6-star plus. However, keep in mind that the 6-star plus do have a version on this list that will be higher, and I'll be talking about them later. Some of them are upgrades, some of them have completely different abilities. So keep that in mind, but for the sake of just starting off, we're going to look at each one individually. So base Whitebeard, before getting the skull, he obviously is a rainbow captain. So rainbow captain is something that's very important when it comes to these legends, because rainbow captain will immediately give you a lot of points. In terms of your captain ability. And also he has one of the best specials in the game, which is an HP cut. Now, however, under 30%, he is dangerous because you're pretty susceptible to 1 or 2 hits from an enemy, and then all of a sudden you're dead. And also, at 3 times, not that great of a damage. So, what do I think about Whitebeard? Well, again, the fact that he is a rainbow captain immediately gives him a lot of points in my book. Now, this is, of course, base Whitebeard. HP cut being very strong. Under 30% is dangerous, yes, but there are ways to mitigate that with damage reducers. You can also try to have as much HP, so that even at 30% you have a good amount of HP. And not so great damage compared to some of the newer ones. Yes, it's not as great, but it's still pretty good, I'd say, compared to some of the other legends. 3 times is pretty good as long as you can set it up, and it's pretty easy to set up. Whitebeard, I think, is still capable of clearing a lot of things. Would I put him in the A tier list? To be honest, I probably would put him in A plus. I probably would put base Whitebeard A plus. I think A is a little bit too low for him. I don't think he's in the lower bracket with some of the other legends. Like I do think that he should be above Saint. Like for instance, we'll talk about some of these guys in a little bit, but I do think, in my personal opinion, Whitebeard is A plus. And obviously we'll talk about a 6-star plus later. I think his 6-star plus is a lot better, but still, I think Whitebeard's very powerful, just his base form. I would put him A plus. So that's I am going to disagree a little bit there with his first pick. Let's move on to. We have a lot of legends, so if I sit here and talk for 5 minutes on each one, it's going to take forever. So let's move on to Sai Shanks. Now, Sai Shanks, back when he came out, he was a beast. He's probably one of the strongest side damage you could do until recently. Also, he has a pretty good special. Where you can lower the defense of any enemy to 0. Keep in mind though, however, that the special is on a pretty high cooldown, which nowadays you're looking 20 turn cooldown is just too much. You're never really going to be using that. And then also, and downsides is his captain ability is based on your max HP. and so you want to always try to stay above a certain threshold. And if you don't have a lot of HP, then the threshold is not going to be very much. Also, he's pretty much only Sai. So as opposed to Whitebeard, where he was a rainbow captain, Shanks is dedicated specifically to Sai units. And in my opinion, his damage is not that high. It's 2.75. 2.75 at this point is the threshold. If you're above 2.75, in my opinion, you can do decent damage. Or 2.75 or below, you're not dealing that much damage at all. So in my opinion, you know, Shanks is in that 2.75. You know, he's tough. It's tough. I definitely think he is A. I definitely agree with him that he's in the lower ranks. He's just really not used anymore. He's used for a few fortnights here and there. He is pretty fast clearer for fortnights. But just overall, I think that he's one of those that has gotten weaker over time. Characters, leaders that are based on how much HP you have, without any ways to really heal themselves or any type of defense, are just not that good anymore. So I would put him definitely, I think A rank is fine for him. Let's look at Sengoku here. Sengoku, very fast, I do agree. You know, starting off at -4, cooldown is really, really fast. 3 times rainbow boost is really nice as well. So he's a rainbow captain. However, he's rainbow with a big restriction, so you're looking at about the same pool as a single type character. Doesn't need rare recruits, so it's really awesome. That means that you can, if you pull him, you're not really required to pull that many other good units, because you're just going to use them with Fortnite characters most of the time, and story mode characters. Units are easy to unlock, exactly, and then a 1.5 times attack boost for all characters, so it is a generic special. However, the negatives, he says, are low burst turns, so you don't deal a lot in one turn. No tankiness. Yeah, very squishy legend, because if you're running Fortnite characters, you're not going to have a lot of HP. And Coliseum, Raids, and Legends can't be played with him. So Sengoku, if you guys have been following the channel for a long time, is one of my favorite legends. Somebody that I used to try to clear everything as I could with Sengoku. And unfortunately, he's just gotten worse and worse and worse as time went on. 1.5 attack boost to everyone used to be nice, but there's so many attack boosters now. I mean, 2-time boosters that Sengoku just isn't good anymore with his special. Also, his special is at 19 turns, so if you're using it as a sub, then you're going to be stalling a lot for a pretty mediocre special. However, keep in mind that he does deal a lot of damage, so that is something to add to him, is when he uses special, it does pretty big damage. But, you know, 3 times boost is nice, but again, you're using Fortnite characters, so their attacks aren't that good. So it's basically like a 2.5 to 2.75 boost if you compare the damage you're doing. Very fast is true, but now that most people have level 2 cooldown on most of their teams, plus there's new characters now like Kinemon, you know, a lot of new characters that reduce cooldowns, and if you put them on your team, you know, like 5+ Zoro and all those characters that really, if you're looking for a fast team, you can run those guys. You can run those guys on your team, and all of a sudden, you know, you're reducing your turns by 5 or 6 with cooldown sockets. So he's just not very good anymore. He doesn't really, there's no reason to use him. There really is no reason to use him, in my opinion. He's just low HP, low burst damage. The game has turned from, you know, the reason he used to be good is because you have 2 turns of burst. You'd have Sengoku plus Kobe one turn, and then Sengoku plus Kobe next turn. But unfortunately, the game has moved towards a 1-turn burst meta. So you really want to try to take out your opponent in 1 turn. Otherwise, they do some pretty crazy stuff. So I think Sengoku is just, I would put him actually at B+. I don't think he's A anymore. I would put him at B+. I think he's probably the worst legend at the moment, or one of the worst legends. So I definitely would put him below Shanks and Whitebeard, for sure. I unfortunately just not very good. In fact, I would put him at B+. So I would make a new category. Next up is Sabo, the Gatekeeper. I don't know why I said Gatekeeper, but this is unevolved Sabo. So he's pretty straightforward. Boost free spirit, HP and recovery booster, great special, and then based his damage is based on his max HP again. Very similar to Shanks. You have to be above certain threshold. Base Sabo. He still can be used. He still does some good damage. You know, there's a lot of good free spirit units. Definitely someone that you should evolve. but his special is nice. You know, 1.5. He's a 2-turn booster. Lowish cooldown, not the highest. But the cool thing is that he does increase your HP and recovery, so it does give you a little bit more play when it comes to his captain ability. You know, being able to heal, have more HP to heal more, and having more recovery, so that when you use a meat orb, you get some more. Really helps out with his captain ability, and I think he's still, you know, obviously it's low at the bottom of the barrel, but A rank seems pretty good for him. I would put him in A. Pretty simple. We'll talk about his 6-star plus later. Same thing with Rayleigh. Rayleigh just got a 6-star plus. But base Rayleigh, you know, at the bottom, I do agree, you know, very good damage output. But however, the addition of great barriers, good, great, and perfect barriers does hurt him a little bit. I guess perfect not too much, but good, great barriers definitely do hurt him. Chain limiters hurt him. His burst is pretty low, unfortunately. I do agree there. So again, the meta right now is a 1-turn burst meta. And he's a rainbow captain, so that is nice. You know, you could put him A+, but I would put him at A. I think A is a good spot for him. He really just wasn't seeing no play. He was seeing no play, unfortunately. But you know, still someone who can clear. You know, he's sort of like Whitebeard, where you still clear a lot of stuff with him. But at least Whitebeard has a very good special. I think the main problem with Rayleigh is that his special is just unusable, too high of a cooldown, and not really doesn't really do much, to be honest. However, we'll talk about 6+ Rayleigh later. Buggy, I'm not even going to talk about, just because, sure, he's A if you consider the fact that he's a double drop. So you could consider that, but it has nothing to do with battle or combat. So unfortunately, he just doesn't do any damage. I would not ever use him unless I need, you know, it's a double drop type of dungeon. I just would never use Buggy. Hopefully 6-star plus Buggy comes around one day and it makes him actually usable. But yeah. And Boa, again, A rank. I agree. Just like Sabo, she has the ability to heal. So that captain ability, you have a little bit of fluctuation there. Special is pretty nice. Delay and heal. Delay is always really nice. Unfortunately, she only boosts 2 colors, but hey, that's still 2/5 of the characters in the game. And you know, based again, you're gonna need that HP based captain abilities. They're all at the bottom pretty much. Most of the HP based captains are at the bottom. So let's move on. Let's move on to A+. So pretty much I agreed with everything here, except, you know, I think Whitebeard should be A+, and I think Sengoku probably B- or B+. Buggy should, you know, just, you know, don't even think about Buggy, to be honest. Let's look at what is here. So first off, you got a few characters. Trying to look at the legends. So let's start with Boa, 6-star plus. Great recovery, excellent special, and 2.75 attack boost. So this Boa 6-star plus, she's definitely an upgrade, 100% really good upgrade to Boa with a little bit of a different special. Her HP's her captain ability, I believe, is no longer variable, although I might be wrong about that. But I think her captain ability is no longer variable. Boost attack of HP and color. I don't actually remember what she does, but pretty much she's still not seeing any play, unfortunately. So I do agree she is an A+ character. The main reason she is better, in my opinion, more than anything, is her special. Her special got a huge boost. You know, it's definitely a different special. So some people might prefer the original, but to be honest, her upgrade special is really nice, and that it provides 3 matching orbs to the left hand side, and gives you a meat orb on your captain. But if you're running blue Dofi, then all of a sudden you're looking at all matching orbs except for Dofi. On top of that, you also gives you I think it's a blue boost. So the problem is that in the past you have to use Enel as a blue booster, but now you can use Boa and not have to go down to 1 HP and waste a Marco recovery, because otherwise you would have to waste a Marco recovery. But now you can run her with Legend Marco team, and she will give you all matching orbs pretty much, and give you a blue boost, and then you pop an orb boost from Dofi, and that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of blue damage. So that's a pretty cool blue team. Unfortunately, we don't really need dedicated blue teams anymore. They're not really necessary. And there's, you know, new characters that boost by 2 times. So they boost blue by 2 times. I think Caribou, right? If I'm thinking correctly. So now you don't really need her, but she is nice to have. Definitely A+ is the right way. She definitely is a step up from original Boa. And like I said, I think Whitebeard actually belongs in the A+. I think this new Whitebeard is really, really good. I've used him a lot. primarily because of his massive attack. He has crazy attack at 6-star plus. 3 times boost to rainbow, so same thing, HP cut, same thing. But however, he does shuffle your non-matching orb, which is actually a huge deal on Akainu team. So all of a sudden he becomes a staple unit. I think he is a staple unit on a lot of teams, you know, Cavendish Blackbeard, Akainu teams, you know. I think he has become a staple unit. HP boost, 30% is decent, yeah. So his HP boost, or his captain ability sort of changed a little bit. We have a little bit more flexibility. Obviously, as a captain, you still don't want to be running him. It's still kind of dangerous to do. And low damage all around. Kind of, I mean, yeah, he has, I'd put him in the A plus damage. A plus, maybe B minus, maybe S. And I would definitely put him overall as a character on the S, just because his special is so powerful, and he has become a staple sub in a lot of teams. So I definitely think he is in the S rank. Yeah, with Bartolome and Lucci, that seems to be where I would put him. So I think, like I said, Whitebeard is A plus, and Whitebeard 6-star plus is S. So we're at what? We're at 16 minutes already. Oh no, this is gonna be a long video, guys. I'm sorry. Maybe we'll split it up into 2 parts. Bartolomeo next up is a really awesome character. Great tankiness, I agree. The ability to not attack and then reduce your damage for the turn. Also, his special allows you to survive is amazing. Definitely a very unique special, excellent special, I agree. However, he low damage at 2.75, not very good damage. And Striker is the worst class at the moment, I do agree. So unfortunately, he's the best Striker captain, but Strikers are not very good. So 2.75 means low burst. Striker's the worst class, and not that many teams that you can make, unfortunately. And I think he's actually, let me see, I think he's actually created some teams here. So again, I'll link this down below. You guys can check out some teams if you guys want to see. So he actually went ahead and crafted some to look at the damage outputs and stuff. Barto definitely belongs here. Unfortunately, he's not really used. I mean, I'll probably be using him for the Int Dofi raid, because he probably is the best Striker captain. But you know, other than that, other than dungeons that specifically require Strikers, you're probably not going to be using Barto. He is definitely a good sub for Training Forest or potentially Colosseums. So he is nice to have. That's why I think he does belong in S. He's definitely nice to have. And definitely, like I said, best Striker captain. So immediately gives him a lot of points. But not much to say other than that. You know, definitely lacking in certain areas. I think a higher captain boost or just the ability to get better Strikers in the game would be better. Rob Lucci here. Obviously, you guys know Rob Lucci's been around for a while. Good recovery with the Rocket Man. So Lucci has a lot of recovery. The problem is, if you use him as a captain, you can't recover. So you can use the Rocket Man plus auto heal, and that that heals you a good amount each turn. Special does give orb manipulation. Actually, I wouldn't call it orb manipulation, but used with orb manipulation, it's actually really good. Definitely, if you use it properly, you can get good chance of matching orbs. 2.5 minimum, which is pretty strong, especially against things nowadays where they lock your orbs. You can't use any orbs. 2.5 is always nice to have as a minimum. Better with Blackbeard, Hody, or Nakainu. Definitely, Lucci has been really good. But again, no HP boost, so you have base HP. You can't recover, and you know, overall, I think S is a good spot for him. He definitely is a good sub, and the special is one of the strongest specials in the game. At least it has been for a while. And it does go down to 15 turns, so it's pretty usable. His special goes on almost any team. The problem is you're just not going to use him that often. You're really not going to use him that often. Too many characters nowadays give you matching orbs, so I rely on luck from Lucci, fortunately. But I think, again, waiting for a 6-star plus hopefully will be really good, and give him a good improvement. Put him into like the S plus range potentially. And God Usopp, here we go. Let's see, 1 turn delay every stage is really good, so you delay everyone every stage. Perfect orb control works great with Ace, and then attack boost under 30%. Usopp's just one of those characters that you're probably not going to use him as a captain. He's designed pretty much to be a sub, so that's why I think he's S. He's great sub. Yeah, one of the best specials in the game, but you're just not going to use him as a captain. Let's see what I'm curious to see what kind of damage output he has on here. Yeah, even with a strong with Ace friend, so you get that 1 delay every turn. You're not dealing that much damage with all specials. That's pretty interesting. So pretty much, if the character's only used as a sub, but he's a great sub, definitely S tier. Other than that, not much to say about him. Okay, here we're getting into S+, so we're starting to get into the better legends in the game. Let's start off with Ace. You guys know I've used Ace a lot back in the day. I can just say that the main reason Ace has gone downhill over time is, again, it's to turn into a one-turn burst meta when it comes to OPTC. So you don't really want to be using characters that burst over multiple turns, because that's a lot of damage that you split up. However, Ace has sort of gotten back in with things like Colosseum Gladius. You can take on certain types of boss, Van Augur and Brundy World. So let's see what he has to say here. Acceptable burst, 1.5 HP boost, so it has a huge, massive HP boost. Really gives him a lot of tankiness. Very versatile. Shooters are the 4th best because of the potential of their units. So yeah, and I believe this might have been made before Gear 4. No, I think it's actually, I don't know when this was made. This was made around the time Gear 4 came out. Works great with Shooter Legends, all top tier, yeah. Can have 2 turns of burst, but not back to back. Let's see, -2 times without orb boost. So yeah, unfortunately, he does suffer when you don't have orbs. You do need definitely weak to stuff like, orb lock. So if orb lock becomes a thing, from like the Invasion Cavendish debuff, if that becomes a thing, then Ace, things like Ace are going to be a lot worse. And they don't have the HP cut. I mean, they do if you run things like Gladius, but 20% is a lot less than 30% when you start stacking it up. And also, Gladius doesn't really do much. You need better, you need better HP cutters. And really, HP cut is pretty much the meta right now. Is everyone's running HP cutters on their team? Pretty much no matter who you're using. So I think Ace S+. That's a tough one to me. I think he might actually be I might put him in SS, just because I said with Colosseum Gladius, Brundy World, and in Van Augur, he has a lot of potential. But I think S plus is a good safe place for him. I think I'm fine putting him at S plus. Definitely think that is okay. Dang, 22 minutes. Let's keep going. Jinbei the Gatekeeper. Very slow teams. Fighters haven't upgraded in a long time. 100% agree, man. Fighters, unfortunately, pretty much until the whole reason they're good right now is just because Gear 4. Gear 4 himself is really, really good. Although Colosseum, I don't know about that. I feel like there are pretty good fighters, but definitely could be better ones. Obviously, Rayleigh becoming a 6-star plus all of a sudden changes the game. Great orb control, extremely tanky, and 2.75 is easily accessible. So Jinbei is one of those characters that, obviously Gear 4 is going to have a big impact on how good he is. I think that all of a sudden with Gear 4, he became a much better sub. Gear 4 does give you a good chance of matching orbs, but Jinbei guarantees you matching orbs. So that is something to keep in mind. So he automatically, he became a great sub for one of the best teams in the game. Using him as a captain is really nice too. And you can run him with a Gear 4 captain and still do a lot of damage. But yeah, using him double Jinbei, very slow. I agree. That's a tough one, man. With Colosseum Ideo, you can do a lot. Obviously you can run Koala, you can run Marco to heal back up. I would put Jinbei SS. I would probably put Jinbei SS, not with the addition of Gear 4, and just seeing how crazy he is. But then again, I don't know. I really don't know. I think leaving him S plus is fine for now, but I do think he has potential to be SS if you're running with a Gear 4 captain, or just because he's good on Gear 4 teams. But we'll have to wait and see. Also, the addition of Rayleigh, like I said, helps out a lot. So maybe he's SS now. But then again, I think he put the asterisk there. I think because it might change with the addition of Rayleigh. Let's see, Mihawk. Obviously, yeah, you can immediately say he's S plus. No tankiness and lower damage than slasher captains. Yeah, so obviously with Zoro, Mihawk's not as good anymore in terms of a captain, but his special is still very, very good. Special is very unique. No other character has it, and it goes really well on a Zoro team. And if you don't have Zoro, you can use Mihawk with Zoro, or you can use double Mihawk. I mean, he's still a very powerful legend, and definitely one of the best specials in the game, and no problem with barriers. Yeah, so. Nothing much to say about Intalk. Very powerful. Definitely S plus seems good for him. Just because overall, like I said, he fits in. He fits in that role where really good sub, potentially very good captain, run with a Zoro. And then Sabo 6-star plus, I'm going to actually go ahead and disagree before I even read it. I think Sabo 6-star plus is insane. I think he's actually SS. If you run him with a time skip Luffy friend, you can do some crazy stuff. 2.75 attack boost for free spirit. Excellent HP. And the fact that he boosts HP and recovery is really nice. Because, you know, running with a friend, Luffy, you know, he gets the damage reduction, a little bit of damage reduction. You get more heal, more HP. And it frees up a slot on your team, so if you're running double time skip Luffy, obviously that's really nice. But if you run Sabo as your captain and time skip Luffy as a friend captain, all of a sudden you have an extra slot opened up. So I think he's very good. His special is amazing. His special is one of the best specials in the game, although it's only limited to free spirits. And you know, obviously his captain ability is nice. It's the first fixed 2 points. It's a fixed 2.75 boost. I guess technically I think Jinbei is, but it's 2.75, which is a huge upgrade over his original. And he doesn't get outclassed, obviously, with, you know, if you're using double time skip Luffy or Law or Log Luffy, but I still think Sabo is very, very good. As both as a sub on either a Gear 4 or a time skip Luffy team, because he's a fighter, or as the captain himself. So I would put him SS. Ace, I kind of want to put him SS, but I'll leave him S plus for now. I'll leave these three S plus for now. And I think Sabo definitely should be SS, in my opinion. So let's move on to S plus Forest God. So these three are S plus, just based on the fact that they can pretty much clear. They're masters of clearing forests. Corazon recovery, obviously, you guys know, just you can heal every single turn. You know, he's a rainbow captain, but he only boosts by 2 times, so not very good. And you do have to hit goods pretty much to heal the max. So low damage output, but amazing at clearing forest. Same thing with Shirahoshi, best character in the game all around. Forest Goddess, excellent damage, excellent special, damage reduction. So Shirahoshi is very good. And actually Shirahoshi got even better now with Enel. So 6-star Enel, Shirahoshi is one of the best subs for that team. So same with Marco. If you have Marco or Shirahoshi, you're going to obviously be dealing a lot of damage with Enel special, just using one special alone. Marco heals for about 50,000, so all of a sudden you're dealing about 500,000 with Enel. Throw in Marco and Shirahoshi, you're dealing crazy amounts of damage. Other than that though, using them as a captain is not very, you're not going to be dealing a lot of damage. It's not going to be your go-to team for a lot of stuff. So I think leaving them at S plus is good. I think Marco actually, it actually has a pretty nice captain ability at 2.75. You have potential to make a crazy blue team. So I wouldn't make him SS though, but I definitely think he is on the fringe between S plus and SS, just because he has a crazy blue team, crazy blue yellow team you can make, and you can also, obviously he's just a crazy sub, one of the best subs in the game, using on almost any team and he'll be good. Cavendish, Akainu, you can use him in so many teams, so I definitely think that he could be SS, but I'm gonna leave him S plus for now. Sort of the same thing with Whitebeard. I think Whitebeard should be here too in SS or S plus. I mean, I think 6 plus Whitebeard should be here alongside Marco. Both great subs and can be potential good captains. Okay, let's take a look at the SS tier. Now we're starting to get a little bit more damage from these legends. Let's start at the bottom. We got Log Luffy. Obviously, you guys know Log Luffy used to be the king of OPTC. He used to be tier 0, best captain by far. He's a 4 times captain. Rainbow works with any units in the game. Works perfectly with Sabo 6-star plus. He gets matching orb and deals massive damage with his special. And also you can recover the turn that you burst, so you don't lose any damage for getting meat orbs. So that used to be his main strength, is that you don't lose no damage from meat orbs, from healing. However, now he's obviously outclassed by time skip Luffy. So if you have time skip Luffy, you're not even touching Log Luffy. And the introduction of barriers has made it hard for him. Just overall, it's just they made it pretty hard for time skip Luffy, or for Log Luffy to really shine as much as they used to. Still very good, still very, very good. But again, more people have moved towards Sabo 6-star plus with a time skip Luffy friend or double time skip Luffy. That really has where the meta has sort of gone. And the fact that only the last 3 characters gain a buff really is not, obviously he's not as good as time skip. Law also very powerful. Boost slashers and free spirits. Two of the top tier. Yeah, probably the two best classes in the game. Maybe there's better ones now. I'm not too sure, but slashers and free spirit definitely top tier. And then you can use units like Brook, Sabo, Dofi, who boost with no distinction. Yeah, so no boost with no drawback. Have multiple abilities. You have some crazy sub potential. Unfortunately, no tankiness. Can't recover if he wants to do damage. That is true. So Luffy, obviously could recover the turn he burst. Law, you have to hit all your perfects, so no chance to heal. And gets outclassed by Zoro, Borsalino, and Slashers. And yeah, so even though he does boost two of the best types, both of those types have better captains that you can use. So I 100% agree there. And has a hard time with barriers. Also, I would add in that his special has really high cooldown, if I remember correctly. But however, you can use a level 1, so it's actually not too bad. Not too bad. He has very unique special. He does have a very unique special. I actually don't have him, and I wish I had him, because his sub ability is really nice. But SS is good. I think he could potentially be S plus or SS plus, but we can leave him here. Kuzan, very fast and powerful. Works great with a lot of legends in top tier. Very good special. Yeah, I mean, Kuzan definitely is one of those characters that if he's doing well, he's gonna do a lot of damage. If he's not doing well, he's not gonna do any damage. So he's a very hit or miss legend. You have to plan out ahead of time, who you're gonna take out. You have to take out a unit every single turn. And yeah, definitely a character that works with a lot of legends. His special at that time was very hyped, but unfortunately it's just, again, since it's moved to a one-turn meta, one-turn burst meta, you don't need 2 turns of, you need to extend that with Kuzan, although it doesn't hurt. He's hard to play, but you can lose, and you can lose his burst really easily. You mess up once, you're screwed. You run over. It's a very risky legend and kind of tough to use on a lot of Colosseums and stuff like that. But still has crazy damage potential. Very good against certain raid bosses, so definitely SS. I do agree there. Dofi, SS. I don't know about this one. I would probably, without even reading what he said, I'm probably gonna put Dofi as SS plus, just because he's one of the must-have legends in the game. If you ask any OPTC player without Dofi who he wants the most, Dofi's gonna be up there, because that's how powerful his special is. Now I do understand his logic. Obviously, it's a 3x booster, but you have to hit all perfects, driven only, and a very good special. But he gets outclassed by Fuji, 100% agree. In terms of captain ability, has a hard time against shield, 100% agree. Can't do damage if he recovers. Exactly. So same thing as Law, and no tankiness. So Dofi as a captain, not very good. Well, I should say he is very good still, but not as good as other captains. Obviously, you'd rather run double Fuji than Dofi Fuji. But that said, his special is so good that he is just wanted on so many teams. However, I don't know, but the addition of the new raid boss Fujitora, it makes me feel like they're gonna have Dofi specials for other types as well. So now they have a powerhouse Dofi special. So maybe he's not gonna be as good as he used to be, because now you have other type of characters that can do the same thing. But at least for now, I will put Dofi up in the SS plus range, just because his special is one of the most sought after specials in the game. Goes in any team, adds a lot of damage. It's just crazy. I think his special alone is worth it. If his special was restricted to only certain types or certain colors, then obviously SS, maybe even lower. But the fact that his special is a generic 2x orb boost and guarantees you 3 orbs, and he has massive attack, and he goes in some of the best teams in the game. I'm just gonna put him. I think I'm gonna put him here at SS plus. Although, like I said, if they start doing more Fuji type characters like Raid Boss Fuji, then he will drop down to SS for sure. Let me see. Crocodile, unfortunately, again, one of those characters that was one of the best in the game at one point. Now it's gone down. He does have high base damage, double burst turn, so you do have a 2-turn burst that is insane, and also awesome orb control. You can get your matching orbs pretty easily. It does require 3-2 Robin to really do anything. Very dangerous, because if you are low HP, then you're pretty easy to, you're gonna die pretty easily. And low versatility, you can only use one type of character. The thing about Crocodile, really, like I said, like I'm saying all the time, is 1-turn burst meta. He's a 2-turn burst captain, which at the time was amazing. He's the best that could do it. but now it's that it's a one-turn burst meta. Crocodile's just not too good anymore. The introduction of a few other characters has made him a little bit obsolete. One, I don't know, maybe, but I'll show you later. Dogstorm is sort of taken over as the best knowledge captain. Crocodile's still very good, still potentially, you know, SS means you're very, very good. You're just not the best, you know. I do think this is a good spot to put him. And I hope that Crocodile 6-star Plus will eventually answer some of the questions that, answer some of the problems that he has right now. Because he was my go-to captain for a long time, and now, unfortunately, not very good anymore. In terms, compared to the other, like, I'm not going to be running Crocodile over Timeskip Luffy, over Akainu, you know. He's fallen behind, but it's still very good. Okay, we're going to be looking at SS Plus now. First one here, Borsalino. Boost 3 all classes, so very, very good. Obviously, Rainbow Booster ×3 when you use a special. Unfortunately, it's not ×3 every turn. Only the turns you use a special on, but in theory, you could use it every 3 turns for each Borsalino. Excellent special, yeah, definitely one of the best subs in the game for specifically shooter and slasher teams. Manipulates orbs by himself, so no need to extra. So if you're using him as a captain, you got the orb manipulation on deck already for 2 turns. 2-turn burst, not linked, so you can burst even when preemptive attack. 2 times without special is rough, and no HP booster slasher. And 5,000 HP regen, yeah. So, of course, this is the same reason I think Dofi should be on here, is because Dofi special I think is I think in general it's a bit better than Borsalino's. Just because Borsalino is better specifically in 2 types of teams, whereas Dofi is good in all teams. His captain ability is in my opinion better than Dofi's by far, but it's just, like I said, 2-turn burst, you don't want to be doing 2-turn burst if you can avoid it. And 3 times, but only if you have a special. So if you don't, you're doing 2 times, which is not nowadays. 2 times will not cut it. You're gonna die to mobs. You're gonna lose so much HP to mobs. That share Borsalino recovers you a little bit of HP, but it's not gonna be enough. So I think SS Plus is there. I mean, great special, top tier special for 2 specific teams. Great captain ability if you can run it, but obviously there's way better captain abilities. Overall, SS Plus good. If you pull him, you're gonna be happy. One of those characters again that people want to pull, just because he pretty much completes 2 teams. I'm gonna save Cavendish for last here. I'm gonna move on. Actually, let's just do it. I can solo clear bosses 4 times himself. Works with a lot of captains, specifically Blackbeard. Takes out your buffs. So that's actually one of his secret things. Is if you get buffed by an opponent, like giving you a 1.1 orb boost, he gets rid of that. Unfortunately, Cavendish has no tankiness, but if you're running with Blackbeard, he's actually very tanky. Very, very tanky. Good everywhere, but not actually great like the ones over him. Yeah. Cavendish, I think we were having this talk, actually, me and Maniac were talking, and I think he had Cavendish originally here at SS God tier, but then he only wanted to have 5 SS God tiers, because otherwise the kind of becomes redundant. So I think he moved it down, and it's tough. I think definitely with the addition of Sanji, people are going to start running Sanji. If you have Sanji and Cavendish, you're probably going to be running Sanji over Cavendish. It's just, Cavendish is good. He can definitely clear all the content, and I would probably put him just because I use him so much, I would put him SSS, in my opinion. But I think it's just the amount of work you have to do with Cavendish. You have to do a lot of work. It's going to be a lot harder to clear. You know, obviously you can clear everything, but it's just the amount of work you have to put in is a bit too much. So I guess putting him down to SS Plus is fine. Yeah, I wish it was like a like SSS minus. Then I would put him there. I think Cavendish is in between the 2. I think I think there needs to be like another category in here, in between the 2, and I would put him right there. Definitely. Let me see what else. Or maybe swap him with Blackbeard. Actually, maybe you swap him with Blackbeard. That might be a thing you can do as well. Because I don't know, the fact that him and Blackbeard, I normally pair them together. They normally go together, but it doesn't really matter. I think Blackbeard's actually better now. Now that I think about it, because you can run him with both Sanji and Cavendish. Cavendish can pretty much have to run him with Blackbeard, although you in theory could run double Cavendish. Next up is Hody Jones. Hody Jones, high base damage and cooldown reducing specials. His batch was pretty crazy, yeah. Definitely increased the power level of tough units for sure. And Rocket Man does work as well, so really well. You can heal at 1900, I think. That Rocket Man HP goes down to... So unfortunately, Holy Jones is one of those that you're going to start with a lot of HP, but you're going to lose a lot of HP as you go through his captain ability. You're forced to have 6 powerhouse units. That's always a bad thing when you're restricted on your team composition. That means that you can only do so much. You know, you can't put a Golden Pound Usopp, you can't put a Marco, you can't put anything like that. Powerhouse is still low when it comes to having multiple burst turns. Exactly. So Holy Jones is one of those legends that I've always wanted to pull, so just so I could play around and test. I know it has crazy potential. That's why I wanted to pull him, because I know it has crazy potential. But unfortunately, it's just it's not top. It's not god tier. It's very good, and I would definitely run him, probably over run him as a captain over Lucci. But I don't. He's obviously not god tier. I think this is a good spot for him. Maybe he might be a bit lower. I haven't again played with him myself, but he actually posted some pretty good teams: a Hody plus Lucci powerhouse and a Hody plus Blackbeard powerhouse. So he's probably went ahead and done the calculations. I'm gonna trust him on this one. Rashi here. Great attack boost, 2.75, 1.5 combo plus multiplier. So Inuarashi has sort of like that raid boss Sabo effect for everyone. It's really, really good, but it's only for 1 turn. But again, 1 turn burst. You got that. Awesome special doesn't rely on 1 HP for burst turn. That's another big thing. You don't have to be exactly 1 HP. So that means you don't require a time skip Robin, and it also means that you're a lot safer. More potential for forest clears and Colosseums. He's also a great sub. Inuarashi is a great sub on Akainu teams. Just a great sub on a lot of teams. 30% is still too low, so it's like sort of Whitebeard. It's a bit dangerous. And Cerebral, obviously, they're not top tier in that a lot of their units are good. They have good specials, but not good stats. That's why things like Dofir. That's why I think Dofir should be up there. It's one of the few Cerebral units that has really good stats. I think as we get better Cerebral units that have good stats combined with good abilities, it's going to be a lot better. And yeah, Double Inuarashi, another legend that I want. I think he has a lot of potential. Definitely want to play around with him and see what kind of damage he can do. And yeah, I think it's a good place for him. Really good place. SS+. 100% agree with that. Fuji, again, I 100% agree with this. He used to be god tier, for sure. But again, the mobs are starting to get so much harder that... unfortunately, he only has a 1.5 boost without orbs, which means if you don't get orbs for 1 turn, you might just die. Or you might just take so much damage that you're kind of screwed, messes up your plan. Fuji does have a lot of HP, so you can actually take a lot of hits. There's one thing. But really, it's the new anti-orb mechanic that pretty much made Fuji just not as good. Because, everyone thought Fuji was the best until Invasion Cavendish came along, and all of a sudden, that completely wrecks him. And he is very good though, easy to play, safe. I was using him on global to clear everything. Better, the best driven captain ability, HP cut, very good, man. I still want him. Like, he's a crazy unit that I want, one of the best specialists in the game. But yeah, obviously, 1 turn burst. You're gonna be running some of the other captains instead. I agree 100% here. And then Zoro. I agree as well. Not god tier, but pretty good. HP and an amazing attack boost. Zoro is amazing. If there was if there was another category here, I would definitely put Cavendish in there. I'd probably put Zoro and Fujitora in there as well. But Zoro is just really, really good. Doesn't need orb boost. It doesn't need orbs. What do you mean doesn't need orbs for boost? And, so Zoro, he gets a boost if you've destroyed an enemy last turn. He's sort of like Aokiji, but if you mess up a turn, you're still okay. Boost slashes, best slasher, booster special, great tankiness, powers, and you can run a 6th unit. Does not have to be slasher, so you can run Golden Pound Usopp, you can run Mariko, you can run all kinds of stuff like that. 2.5 can be a bit low during the first turn, but assuming you take out an enemy every turn, you should be good. You want to try to burst him down on 1 turn anyways, so it's not really a drawback. 5 slasher is a little bit too much. You are limited, very limited, but you're not as limited as with like a Hody Jones team. So Zoro is very, very good, very powerful. And finally, guys, we're coming up on the SS God tiers. Akainu, you guys know that's my go-to captain right now. Akainu and Gear Money, as I call him. Those are my two go-to captains at the moment. Akainu, high base damage, amazing base damage. You don't even need any specials and you can deal millions of damage. It's just insane. A lot of team variations. You can run anyone with him. It's pretty insane. Marco, Dofi, Blackbeard. You can run anything. Probably the best combo of power and speed. So if you're looking, yeah, definitely. You can clear, again, you can clear a lot of Fortnites and stuff without any specials. High burst. If you do use specials, you're going to be dealing even more. However, he is very weak, very squishy, so you do need those level 5 auto heal, at least level 4 before you really start using him. His special is not worth doing on a burst turn. Yeah, you're better off doing like a 2-time special or something if you got it. But I mean, special is still very good and does a lot of damage. Although again, his special only boosts 50 or higher, so it does require a lot of legends or raid bosses. So it does a little bit restrict. There's a little bit of a restriction there. The best tankiness is with Rocket Man. Definitely, Rocket Man does boost him potential for a powerhouse team, but without orbs, he is in a bit of a problem. So he's sort of like Stronghold Shanks, but overall, just insane captain. Probably my favorite captain to use for just mindlessly farming. I'm gonna go over to Gear Money right now, since that's the one I've been using the most for like raid bosses and Colosseums. Times 4 whenever you want. Yeah, you get 80%, pretty much 80% damage reduction if you use both for those 3 turns. I use both. Great Wind Bursting, 200 times. Like his special does so much damage. Pretty much gives you all matching orbs, and then I was talking with Maniac. You know, at first we thought Gear 4 wasn't God tier. Really 6-star plus really boosts him, I think, in my opinion. It really puts him on that level. Just because if you run into anything where they chain him, you got Rayleigh. So Rayleigh's definitely, obviously he's not going to be as good because he does take up a spot, but it means that any future content with a lot of chaining, paralysis, or bind, you can put Rayleigh in the team and you're solved. Also, if you need to burst and then survive, you can Rayleigh again and then you should be good to go. Unfortunately, no tankiness with the special, so yeah, that is a drawback. It's not like Timeskip Luffy. Timeskip Luffy is pretty much better. The more I play with Gear 4, the more I'm starting to actually think Gear 4 might be on par with Timeskip Luffy, but for the most part, I think Timeskip Luffy is still better. And Ray puts him on the tier list, yeah, definitely. So speaking about Timeskip Luffy, so he's a free spirit booster, one of the top 3 classes in the game. High base damage. He has decent orbs, so you don't really. A lot of times you don't need an orb manipulator, but he still helps. Still nice to have it because unlike Gear 4, he only gives 3 colors matching orbs. Insane burst, highest rainbow burst. So he's just pretty insane. The main thing that makes him better than Gear 4 is the free spirit units are better than the fighter units. You have things like Brook, Sabo, Invasion, Shanks, just stuff like that. Even Kov if you want to. I guess even Kov is a fighter, but you got a lot of dedicated, things like that for free spirit. And he has constant damage reduction, so you get damage reduction every turn as opposed to only having it during the burst turn. And yeah, the only problem is that they don't have a full way to get matching orbs. You can do things like Conjuro and stuff like that, but overall, Timeskip Luffy, in my opinion, is better than Gear 4. But the more I play with Gear 4 or Gear Money, the more I think that they might be equal. Blackbeard, great captain boost. Overall, just Blackbeard's insane. Just for the fact that he breaks the fundamental rules of the game, goes through barriers, damage reduction, anything like that. And has a 30% HP cut, by the way, so pretty insane. You can use him with pretty much anyone, except that you do need a small restriction of 4 specific types. But as more of those types come out, the more characters come out, he's gonna have one of the best possible ways to grow the team. Goes well with Cavendish. I recommend running him with Cavendish, or you can run him with the new Sanji as well. I think that might be good as well. Definitely does require a lot of legends and rare recruits. I do agree there. And finally, guys, Sanji here. 2.5 rainbow boost. Very good. Dodges bad effects as a captain, so he has a unique ability to skywalk, which means that incoming into a boss, if he chains you, silences you, does anything, it ignores it. Special does 100,000 fixed damage. Also gives matching orbs, so really nice. And you get a crazy amounts of damage because his skywalk does not count as a boost, so you can actually add a boost to that and stuff like that. Works great with Gear 4, Hody, Lucci Powerhouse teams. Boost better than, I don't know, I think he left out something there. Not the best damage as a team, since he's very self-centered, but can do 3 million. Yeah, so Sanji is sort of like Cavendish, where he can solo mini bosses. He can do that. But on top of that, he also does other things like benefit the team by giving matching orbs. Skywalk to get rid of, to avoid any kind of traps. Sanji's just insane. And I'm kind of sad I didn't get him. So before I end the video here, it's been a long video. Almost an hour. Enel 6-star plus. I want to talk a little bit about him. I think Enel 6-star plus just came out. I would put him SSS God tier. He's one of those units that's going to require a lot of subs, like legends and rare recruits. So he's going to be one of those pay-to-win captains, in my opinion. But I've already seen the amount of stuff he can do. Potential damage. Like I said, just run Marco and get to the final boss. Pop a Marco and all of a sudden double Enel's doing 1 million just on specials alone. Throw in a Shirahoshi, throw in some meat orbs that you've recovered throughout the dungeon, and just so much damage. Pretty easy to get that 3.25 captain boost, so he's doing crazy damage as well, but without the side effect of having low HP like Crocodile. And you get constant matching orb because meat orbs count as matching. It's just insane. I think Enel is definitely God tier. And I guess we didn't really talk too much about Rayleigh 6-star plus, but I think Rayleigh 6-star plus, there's not much to say about him. Pretty much. It's going to be used for specials. Captain ability is still useful. It's a little bit better than old Rayleigh's. Definitely seen some people clear some stuff with it, but I think Rayleigh 6-star plus is mainly going to be used for his special. I'd probably put him S plus. Probably put him S plus. At least for now. Maybe he might be better, but I'll put Rayleigh 6-star plus and S plus. And so yeah, that's it, guys. Shouts out to Maniac. I'll leave this in the description. Check it out. Links to all the teams. Links to his. Definitely check out at the bottom of the page, guys. His links to Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Those will all be in there. So overall, guys, thanks for watching. Talk to you guys in the next video. And until then, peace.